Hello and welcome to episode 213 of Nolo Time. My name is Obed Velez and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good, no low time? Obed, pleasure to be with you again here on this Thursday evening as we record episode 213, man.
Good to be here, sir. How's it going?
Things are going good, you know. This has been a good week for sure. A shortened week as we honored the life and legacy of MLK on Monday. So I think the positive of that is that when you get back into your regular work week, you're like, well, at least it's going to be a shorter week. Had a
Oh,
nice
yeah,
extended
yeah.
weekend, and
Yeah,
then
you're right.
quicker jump start to more good times. But no, I mean things are good. You know, gosh, I cannot wait to hear your what's up for sure because we've already been
Yeah,
discussing this much anticipated topic. But yeah, we've got Boba Fett, we've got your what's up.
we
We
got
got
some
much to
big
talk about
news.
today.
Oh, yeah. We got some huge news today. Not a lot on the WhatsApp end, but we'll go over a few things. Um, I signed up for the Funimation trial for the Funimation service streaming service. I was gonna go back to Crunchyroll, but then I decided it's like, oh, let me try this one instead. The UI is awful. Like the UI in Crunchyroll is much better. That said, the content is they have a ton of stuff. So I've been watching the final season of Attack on Titan. That show, I mean, it's incredible. Like even back when it started, like this is not only like a good anime. This is like a great TV show. Period. It is amazing. And this last season is like shock and awe and a lot of like big deal themes happening. So yeah, can't wait. I'm almost caught up to where it is right now. Because I know that this part that I'm watching right now came out last year, but I'm almost caught up to where it currently is. After that, man, I'm gonna go back into Demon Slayer because that was so good, and they have a bunch of episodes there in the movie, so I'll watch that, and then I'll probably go back to My Hero Academia because that was really good. I really enjoyed that show, and was looking forward to going back when season 3 came out, but I had canceled Crunchyroll back then, so now I got 2 seasons that I gotta catch up with. So other than that, played some more. I'm at the end on Guardians, Joe. It's really good. Again,
Ooh,
so I'm like, I want to say that I'm at the final boss because it was like right before a boss fight. That's like there, there's nothing else that can be uh um after that. That said, dude, that game really it went off the rails in a good way. So
okay,
you
okay.
got yeah. It's like I was not expecting what happened, and it was nuts. It was really good, and you gotta play it. You gotta play it. So you gotta
Okay.
make time for that one this year, Joe. Check it out.
Okay. Okay.
It's good. It's
I
good.
will. I will.
It's
I've got
it's
some gift cards sitting. I got some gift cards sitting around for Target. I think that might be put to good use.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, it's real good. So I'm now gonna talk any story stuff because I want you to enjoy it, man.
Ah, thank you,
I
thank you,
want to
thank you.
enjoy it. Um, I watched the Eternals because he came out on Disney Plus last Tuesday. And I told you that I tell you the rating that I gave it. I don't wanna say it on air because it's an
Yeah.
inside joke, right? And it's like I
Yeah.
don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
But man, I want to turn my autofocus off because for some reason it just keeps
Yeah.
trying
I
to
saw like
focus.
just keeps focusing in on you,
Yeah.
man.
So all
At least you're
right.
not Modoc today.
So no. All right. I didn't hate it. Um, it's the worst of the Marvel movies. That's it. So I would rather watch Iron Man 2, which I've watched probably like 4 times. I would watch Thor Dark World, which I've watched like 4 times. Anytime again before watching this movie again. Probably Captain Marvel was my least favorite, and but this one's under it. So, but let's talk about the positives first.
Sure.
Very diverse cast, and I think that everyone was good with what they were given.
Very talented cast.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of people, names.
yeah. It was good. It was like the cast was good. Um, and it's I think that across the board the representation was very good, and that was a big plus, right? And that was one of the selling points for this movie. That was one of the things that they were trying to put out there. Is like, oh, it's the most diverse cast that we've ever had in like any movie, or it's something like that, right? And that was a selling point, and good, good for them, and it was fine. It's shot beautifully. Like the shots are really good. I did have some issues. I think it's the HDR transfer that Disney Plus uses is too dark, and the movie overall was really dark. Like I could see, like when I watched, say, The Witcher on HDR, The Witcher had a lot of dark parts, but you can still see what's going on. And then when they go onto like
So
daylight, mhm.
I would argue that that was done intentionally to cover up the very strange CGI choices that they make in this movie.
Yeah,
They make some strange
there's some straight
choices.
choices, but it didn't bother me. Like honestly, it didn't bother. Like the even the CG, like some of the CG, like it didn't really bother me.
Some scenes look better than others.
Yeah, yeah, you can tell where the money went. I mean, we still got that Black Panther car scene that's still not good.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Video game.
and it's shot beautifully, and some of the wide shots and setup shots and all that. I was like, this is a really nice looking movie, and that's basically where it ends because this movie is really really boring and not not so again. I would rather watch a movie like again Iron Man 2 and Dark World where they're still fun. But this movie takes itself so serious, and like I don't know why, right? It's like there's parts of the movie that you can tell that they were intentionally made to be funny and they weren't.
Mm,
It was
yeah,
bizarre, yeah.
yeah.
By far, my favorite character was Druig. I think he was the best
Yeah,
character in the movie. He's probably the more relatable of everyone out of everyone. Because
sure.
that's basically how I feel on a daily basis.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
so, so yeah, it's my favorite character. Um, other than that, man, honestly, like I don't know. Like you can see the Icarus thing a mile away, and like the
Which is
whole
supposed to be.
yeah, 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 and
Yeah,
and the way it was all played out, it was just very formulaic. I guess that's the right word for it. Uh,
sure.
and man, it's like I'm not disappointed, right? Because I was ready for disappointment. And
But if had you expected like a Marvel Studios
yeah,
extravaganza,
yeah,
that
yeah,
would have
with
been
an
a rougher
Academy Award winning
experience.
director,
Right.
cinematographer, right? So
Yeah.
that's the thing. No, I mean that said, like there's way worse comic book movies out there. There's
Exactly.
Fan
100%.
Stick and
Oh yeah.
there's
Oh yeah.
Fan
This
Stick
is
and even the old like yeah like yeah like
we could
Dark
start pulling
Phoenix.
out
The Dark
old, yeah,
Phoenix is
oh my
bad. I never watched the other one with the school, the New Mutants. That
oh
that that
don't.
movie,
Yeah.
according to you, still doesn't exist.
No.
So
Never happened. That was gone in the Thanos snap.
yeah, yeah. So that's how I feel. It's just a very boring, long movie with a very slow first act, and just doesn't amount to anything. It was just
Which is crazy because the fate of the universe is involved in this movie. Like it says Aram, like the one who created the universe, and
Airsham,
this is like
yeah.
it starts like with the whole like in the beginning, all this like stuff,
Creation
the
and all
scroll
that. Yeah, yeah,
creation,
yeah.
like it's supposed to be like this huge, like, oh my gosh, like we're dealing with this, and then and and yet like you're like so disinterested in like what's supposed to be very high stakes and huge importance, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I felt more. I felt more interested, and even this I don't think was handled as best as it could have been. I was more interested with Dormammu than I was
Oh
with
yeah,
like
yeah,
what
yeah,
was going on with the arm, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. No, yeah. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Oh man, it reminded me in another movie. I really can't remember, but it kind of reminds me of something else where like, oh, it's like the fate of the universe is in your hands, and it's like I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing,
Yeah.
and I think that the reason you don't care is that these characters are so isolated and like so out of touch that you just again Droog's the best character. It's like, yeah, it's me, bro. It's my spirit
And,
animal.
and even him, like if he would have died, I would have been like, no, like I would have been like, well, it's kind of on par
No,
with the
I was
movie.
gonna
Like,
say it's like great. They killed off the best character in the movie, and I was like,
right.
oh, they came
Like,
back. Okay, great.
like it doesn't. Yeah, I feel like this movie struggles with not also understanding the source. Like the director, I don't think
Mm,
fully understood the source material,
okay.
and it's okay to make differences and changes. Like times are different. It's not gonna. I don't expect like a exact adaptation. Like it's not like to be treated like this is Bible or something, right? Like this is clearly a creative thing. I get it. I mean, like a Guardians is not the exact same roster it
Oh
was
no
in the
no.
comics and all this
Yeah
kind of stuff, right? But it still is. It still is fundamentally the same characters. Like
yeah
they fundamentally changed these characters. I mean, Kingo, right? Who was just crazy, dude, because like before going into it, I was like, Kingo's supposed to be like this like Japanese samurai and like
he was good. He
super
was
cool
good. He was
character.
good though.
And then I watched the movie, and for me, Obed, he was one of my favorite characters
Yeah
in the
yeah.
movie
He was good.
because his comedic relief was just was pretty good. Like it was
Yeah.
needed.
Him and
He
the
could actually
valet.
help
Like
them.
the valet is the second best
Yeah,
character in the
his
movie.
yeah his
Yeah.
his friend with him, dude, his
yeah.
valet, like hilarious,
Yeah.
good, like good, right?
Yep.
But it's crazy because like that's the one choice they made that was okay. But at the same time, it was like, wow, this character was supposed to be very different, and they made him the joke. And then you have the same thing, you have with Sprite, where again that character was not to that completely was completely changed, right? Like that character's supposed to be
Mm,
a young boy. They make it a girl instead. Not only do they make it a girl, they make it very awkward interaction between her and a
yeah.
grown man. And it's just like I don't know why like you had to put this. Like there's so much more you could have done, and this is the thing you decide to hone in on. And that's what I'm saying. They lost track. I think they focused so
Yeah.
much actually on the diversity that it was so woke. Like I'm just being honest with you, dude. Like it was so much on that. I think that the story suffered a little bit because they just were trying to figure out how do we make these characters true to what they want them to be.
Yeah. And then there's the gigantic like plot hole about
Oh yeah,
what's it, Salma Hayek not telling everyone what's
yes,
up.
man.
It's like, and then telling the least the person that she knew would flip out, and that was very awkward too. It was like, okay, great. Well, it's like this doesn't amount to anything, and these villains are terrible.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
this. What a nothing
well,
villain, man.
that's it, right? The deviants, like there's no full understanding of what makes them evil. It's just like monster bad, monster bad. Like
Hmm.
let's just stop them, And there's no fully deeper understanding of what's going on, which is why I would compare it to Thor: The Dark World. It's like this guy's just angry and he just wants to make the world turn have dark
But
or
at least he
whatever. It's
had a
like very
yeah.
strange.
But at least he had like
Or
a like an. It's like, oh, I'm doing this because Odin kicked us out
yeah,
too. Like at least there was a
yeah.
motive, right?
There was
Yeah.
something there. Yeah, there was something there. Strange, but still something
And
there.
he looked
This
cool
one
though.
here.
Like the
Oh yeah,
design, like
yeah. He
the
looked
character
cool.
design was great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah,
Like
man.
here, the deviants here, like you know, not fully fleshed out. And then when you finally get to Crow, right? So you see him; he's absorbing all of their powers. Like, oh snap, this is gonna be crazy. And then you get that scene where she just cuts up his arms and it's like done. And you're like, well, okay, well here we get going. And I'm like, no one understands who these villains. No one understands what's
Yeah.
really going
And
on.
Kingo
And
just
then you
pieces
get
out, and then at the end shows up again, like he was there with them to save the world.
yeah,
That's
like I don't.
weird.
It's
Yeah.
very, very, very strange, man.
It was
Very
very
strange.
abrupt, and
Like,
yeah,
but the moment that
I don't know.
you get to the spot with oh my gosh, I'm trying to get the character's name with Gilgamesh and Thena. Like when you get to like where they're hiding out, right?
Hmm.
And he like drops the pie and it's like falling off. Like that's how I felt. Like I was just like, I just fell off this movie, you know?
They dropped the pie.
Yeah. That was me. That was my spirited food in that
So
moment.
I give it 6 drop pies out of 10.
There you go. But
There
to your
you
point,
go.
Obed, it
Yeah.
is not the worst. People hear us like joking on this, think,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
this must be the worst." No, no, this. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
go and say this is the worst movie
It's
ever.
my least favorite
There are
MCU
parts of it that
movie.
are
Yeah.
interested. Yeah, least favorite. I have no interest in going back and watching it, but it's not the worst movie. If I ever watch it again, I'm not gonna be banging my head in or something.
Yeah.
But like, but like you said, there's worse things. But there's also it's also fixable. Like if you think about it, Obed, like they could make a sequel theoretically and fix a lot of the issues that were done in this movie.
Yeah. We could. And we'll see. I guess at some point they're going to be back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did say the Eternals will return at the end
Yeah.
credits there. But you obviously caught the reference to the blade at the end,
Yeah.
right? His voice. So that's if anything, I'm actually more interested in that, right, than the next Eternals thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And we'll probably find out more during multiverse
Yeah.
about late. So I guess we'll wait and see. Book of Boba Fett. All right. 'Cause things just got real, man.
That ending and the music, I was like,
Okay.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
spoiler
So
alert, everyone.
yeah. So spoilers for Book of Boba Fett episode 4. R.I.P. Sarlacc. Uh, yeah, so we're done with the flashback machine, so that's good. We're all caught up to where we are now. So now we would assume that he spent probably around 2.5 years with the Tusken Raiders, right? It's fair to assume,
Yeah.
right? So probably even more, probably like 3 years. Because I know that it's been Mando at the end of Mando season 2 is 4 years after Return of the Jedi, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's a while.
yeah, so we got that. We got revenge on the Tusken Raiders with Slave One coming in and
Oh,
swooping.
did you see that, dude?
Yeah,
The trends on that
yep,
was a
swooping in.
fire
Fire
spray or
spray.
something. Oh,
Yeah, because it's a fire spray model. I guess they just don't want to just say the name of the ship, and that's
yeah.
fine. Whatever.
We talked about it. It's
Yeah.
very bizarre.
Yeah. So yeah, Slave One comes in and just blasts everyone, and it's just cool. And then the
Yeah.
Sarlacc sequence was very good, very well shot, man. I was like, there were some shots there. I was like, oh man, this is really well done.
Absolutely.
And even when he's swooping in, getting the bikers, that was really well shot too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The thing with the Sarlacc, I was like, oh man, there's no beak, so they're retconning the beak, and then the beak comes out. I was like, oh, there we go. Okay, George, you gotta have George Lucas's beak because
There it is.
you gotta do it for George. So that was good, but now we know where we are. Boba indirectly made a job offer to Chrysanthemum, and then it ends with like Mando's gonna be back to help, right? We all know,
Yeah.
like
Clearly, the
basically,
music starts playing.
yeah.
I don't think it's just Mando. Maybe, just maybe, dude. There might be a couple other Mandalorians
Based
in
on
this
rumors,
battle.
probably, yeah. So here's where my
I think Han Solo's still showing up, man.
yeah, okay. Well, that's it. Is the next episode the last one, or is there 6?
I think there's 6.
Okay. Mando's gonna be back for sure, right? But here's where my mind went. We're gonna get the Empire Strikes Back band with like Bosk and Dengar and IG-88 and all and the cockroach looking dude. I forgot his
Yeah.
name. um, yeah, man, that's what I was thinking. We're gonna get all the band back together.
Oh man, Dengar with the diaper thing.
Yeah, the diaper on his head. Yeah.
It was great.
The diaper. Crap.
Oh my gosh. I can't look at Dengar, bro. It's so wrong.
Oh, dude, that's great.
Talk about man babies.
You were on his head with pride. Oh man.
Oh my god.
But that's where my mind went. I was like, we're gonna go see
Good
gonna
point.
see the old bounty hunters that we wanted to see back in. Yeah, that should be an interesting ending. I really enjoy, man, They brought that little droid back from the freaking Clone Wars, dude. The little like
Yeah.
service droid. Didn't Cad Bane had one too? One of those
Yes.
guys? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So when
Which
I
is one
saw
you would reference you'd want to see on the show.
correct, yeah. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's one of those little guys that Cad Bane had. So that was cool. Yeah, very good. I liked it. It was very good. This last episode was very, very good. Very good. Lower backstory again. Going back and getting the ship from the palace. Yeah, it was. I have zero complaints about this last episode because we're done with a flashback machine, and that's the thing that the story that they were telling with the Tuscan Raiders was very good. Was better than like the present time thing that they were doing, but it got to the point where it flipped. Right now they're like on par, they're caught up, and now we just need to look forward to what's coming. So yeah, very good, man. I don't know if you have anything else to add. So
Yeah, I don't have too much to add to that. I think you're right, and definitely, I definitely think now the show is gonna be more ramped up. Like to your point, because they don't have to keep doing the flashbacks. Like I think now you're gonna just get a lot of action heavy stuff. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be like
yeah.
he had that meeting already with all the the local leaders, right? The district.
Hmm.
Like I think they'll be fine. I think we'll
Yeah.
get way more exciting.
I was thinking when I finished watching the episode that bizarrely this show has been like a creation on demand. Like an episode comes out and then people complain about something and they fix that on the second episode and then they complain about something on the second episode and then the third episode fixes it. Like it's been like that, right? It's
I
crazy.
think the showrunner clearly knew like where
Yeah.
the show was going. There's a direction here, and that's what I do like. Like Robert Rodriguez, like he clearly understands. Like, don't worry, like you're mad this episode. Don't worry, it pays off the next one and the next one. Like it's written well like that. Where like I gotta be real, like so a lot of shows suffer with that, where it feels like you get for every bad episode you get a good one, but it's not. It doesn't connect. Like this one actually connects very well.
Yeah. No, it was very good. Now I'm trying to fix my autofocus here. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Let's see. Video settings. Uh, but yeah, man, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Very good stuff. Yeah, when I heard the little music at the end, I was like, oh yeah, Mando's gonna be back. Great. That's good. But you know, based on rumors, right, that we're gonna get another like a spinoff with Bo Katan. Maybe that's gonna be a thing. So hopefully they'll show up. Like, hey, that'd be cool. See all the Mandos band together to help another Mando.
Dude, like big picture long term, right? Like how cool would it be though, like if they just go ahead and make this lead into like all these shows that they're doing leading into like a big movie. Like if they lead it into some kind of like
Oh, that'd
feature
be awesome.
film where like you get like a war for Mandalore or something, and you have
Yeah,
like Luke Skywalker going, you've got all the
Ahsoka.
Mandalorians charging in,
Ahsoka.
so yeah, like everybody's going, dude, like a big Avengers type moment, and it's like all from Disney Plus
Uh,
shows leading in.
Leading into a movie, that'd be a great idea. Yeah.
Come on, Disney,
Yeah, we'll
too
see.
easy, guys. You guys can do it.
It's too easy.
It's too easy, right? But that's what scares me with Disney.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's never too
Makes too
easy,
much
Joe.
sense.
It's never. Yeah, yeah. That's the problem. Um, Moon Knight got a trailer for that. Um, yeah, very good. I have not much to add to that, but it was very good, very intriguing. It looks very mysterious, but yeah, let's go ahead. I'm not too familiar with the character, but you can go ahead
Yeah,
and expand, sir.
yeah, no worries. I think what's there's a couple things I gotta think about. Just outside of the trailer, number one, the time, right? So this comes out March 30th, I want to say,
Yep.
which is gonna be right around the same time, right after we get the Batman, right? Interesting. Moon Knight's been compared often to Batman, in some regards. So it's interesting to see the timing of when that's coming out. That's kind of be their competitor and makes sense. Batman wears black to hide and to be in the night and stealth. Moon Knight wears white because he wants to be seen. So it's a very different characters in that regard. Pretty cool. Let's get into the trailer here. Um, I think it looks good. I think like obviously like you get into the whole like effects of him kind of, spazzing out and getting the visions where he sees these Egyptian gods and these creatures, coming to life. Like, okay, pretty cool. Um, but I will also say there's something about it, Obed. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it that feels like we're not like we're gonna get a lot of. I mean, it's a TV show, right? So they have to watch the budget, but like we're not gonna get a lot of crazy like CG kind of scenes. Like we'll kind of get like our moments spaced throughout.
Hmm.
Where Moon Knight as a character depends a lot upon high action, high stuff. Now, not that Disney doesn't have the money, right? But it also could be something to do with them being afraid of fully embracing the character on the smaller screen because Disney Plus is their more family friendly platform, right? Although they have X Men Origins, with all those kind of movies are not as much family friendly in my
Yeah, yeah.
opinion. But like you think of Disney Plus, you don't think of like, okay, this guy's gonna have an eclipse in his hand and he's gonna be like beating in people like till they're bleeding out the mouth or what. Like it's not the kind of thing you think of. So I don't know, something about it does not feel like a typical Disney Plus property. But for that reason, I think the show might be a little more grounded, a little more spaced out in those highly dramatic sequences. But Ethan Hawke being in it,
So,
interesting choice.
also very tragic that an actor that he was a main character, right, or a big character.
Yeah, he was a major character in the series and passed away after a skiing incident, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it's gonna be super weird watching it now. It's like, oh, that
I
guy's
know.
yeah.
So I felt
So,
watching like what's it called? The last Star Trek movie when this guy
oh,
passed away.
Anton Yelchin, or
Yeah, that
yeah,
was like super morbid, man.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
just watching like,
It
man, he,
stinks.
he, he didn't get to make it.
It's like the Dark Knight. I mean, the first time
Oh
that you see Dark
yeah.
Knight, that really hits you because it's so brilliant. It's like, oh man, that's like,
Dude, Carrie Fisher, bro.
yeah, yeah, Carrie Fisher, yeah, man.
So
But yeah, man, it looks good. Looks good. I'm definitely gonna check it out for sure. So yeah, not much to add to Moon Knight. We got a teaser for the Amazon Lord of the Rings series called The Rings of Power. Completely unrelated to the Peter Jackson trilogy, and a prequel. It's in a different age. So good to know that it's in a different age. It's a prequel. They don't, some characters may be there from from the movie, but this is like way old stuff. So
yeah, the exact timeline they're going into, for those of you that are not aware, they're gonna be following the Middle Earth's second age. It's not the first stage, which is smart that they're going between, right? Because if they really want to, they can still go backwards and go forwards. They're in a safe spot. Anyways, the things that we're gonna be seeing during the second age is the forging of the rings, which we hear in that little teaser, right? The rise of Dark Lord Sauron, the epic tale of Numenor. I Forgive me, not familiar with the character or
the
how you
Numenor,
pronounce it.
yeah, the Numenor
Yeah,
are like the what's it the race that Gandalf and Saruman are.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's the epic tale of them, right? And then the last alliance of elves and men will also be in the series.
yeah,
So it's they when they made the deal. I want to say it was 2017. It was an agreement that they would make 5 seasons. They paid about, I think, close to $1 billion or something to make 5 seasons of this. Obed, if it's just knowing that it's Amazon, like strap in and get ready
yeah,
because they're in it to win it and they got the money and they got the power to make this thing everything it needs to be for the smaller screen. Like
yeah.
I don't know, Obed, if you've watched any of their like original movies on Prime, but like the Tom Clancy Without Remorse or like the one that Chris
Watch The
Pratt
Voice. The
did.
Voice is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But like the Chris Pratt movie that came out
Oh
like
no, I haven't watched
Yesterday
that. Yeah,
War or
yeah,
something like that,
yeah.
right? Like, dude, these movies look better than some of the movies in the theaters. It's on they're made for your television.
Wow.
Like they have this isn't like Netflix budget where
Oh,
it's like,
they
they
got
spend a
budget.
little you can see like, visible stuff. Like this is highest level in my opinion, I think this could pass bold statements. I think it could pass like Game of Thrones and like quality overall.
Quality.
I mean, you look
Yeah.
at just that teaser alone, right? That was all filmed, without CGI
It was
practically,
practically,
and
yeah.
it is
It's
in
nuts.
4K, beautiful golden
It's
like
ins-
editing,
it's nuts.
perfect,
Yeah.
chef's
It looks
kiss.
very good. Very good.
Like this will be a series that when you like, there's gonna be scenes definitely trending like on Twitter when this thing comes out, where it's gonna be like, did you see this crazy thing because they got the money to make this thing as beautiful as it needs to be. So I say the same thing with Sony movies. Like you watch a Sony movie, it doesn't matter what movie it is, right? There's two things. Like who cares that the story could be terrible, the characters could be terrible, but there's two things it's gonna look pretty and it's gonna sound
So good.
great. you
Yeah.
know, like that's kind of like where I think you're gonna go with this one. Where like it could be a terrible series, I don't know, but I tell you
We'll see.
what, it's gonna look great.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Definitely interested. Can't wait to see their take on that. Joel, out of nowhere today, you sent me this message that Legendary and Apple are joining forces and bringing Godzilla to Apple TV Plus with a monster series. So, man,
That's your world, man.
this
Tell me
is
how you're feeling about
this
this.
is very good. Um, I mean, if they follow the continuity from the current like MonsterVerse or whatever they call it, the Warner thing they have going on. Yeah, man, like this is a big deal because that license was up, the license for Godzilla. So if they were able to manage to get I guess keep the license and be able to produce more stuff. Yeah, man, that's great. And it looks like Toho is gonna be more involved as well. So like stories could get even crazier. Yeah, man, I'm in. I'm in. Like you tested me. I was like, oh, here we go. I gotta spend another $6 a month on something else that I don't really need. So yeah,
And you think about it, like we're in a pandemic, dude, and like that movie came out, Godzilla versus Kong, and like it just did way better than like most people even anticipated
did really
because
good.
of situations. So obviously the world as a whole will spend their money to watch this thing. So
I think they found their
it makes
thing.
sense.
Yeah, I think that they looked at it and said it was like, oh well, like the streaming stuff really worked out for Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like not only that movie, like people went back and watched Skull Island and the other Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
So they worked out really well, and I think they realized that they found a niche. I'm surprised this is not an HBO Max thing.
I know.
I'm
Apple must
surprised.
have
Yeah,
really paid up.
yeah, yeah. So or someone at Apple like really loves Godzilla, and I was like, yo, no, we gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to see more Gojira for sure.
Yeah.
So all right, playtime's over. Let's go. And we got some juicy bit of news here. We got two. We're gonna start with, I guess, the least positive. There. I mean, me personally, I think both of them are pretty negative, in my opinion. There's one that's objectively negative to some people, us included,
Okay. Yeah.
I'll we'll
Yeah.
touch into that. But there's an interview that was done with Joss Whedon, and a lot of the stuff was brought up, a lot of the allegations, and insert oof from Roblox here, because whew, bro, this dude is crazy, man. He is crazy, and I have been like elated to go back to Twitter and check back on on Ray Fisher because he's been having a great time.
Oh yeah. Oh, he ain't holding back.
He's been having a great time. But sir, I will let you go and talk about it because English is not my first language. So go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah, that there's a lot that could be talked about from the interview because they don't just talk about the Justice League stuff. They talk about from Buffy and all the kind of I mean, there's some things that are said in this interview. You have to read it for yourself. We're not making up the crazy stuff that we're saying this man was talking about. I mean, he went from think about it, but he went from being a guy that people hailed as being this, feminist and supporting, the female leads and being a diverse, director, and then quickly that image has been changed. I will say, there's two things that stood out to me. One, his response to the allegation, like we're gonna talk about just Justice League, right? His response to the stuff about Gal, right, where he's like, no, her saying that I threatened her career, she misunderstood me. I would never do that. That was an issue because of a translation, because that's not her first language, English, and saying that he's made jokes. He made jokes about it. Because at one point about like you can't like the only way you would change the script is if he tied me down to a train track and had a train run me over, like basically about like killing himself. And he's like, yeah, like like I say crazy stuff sometimes. Okay, Obed, is this not the kind of stuff that like bullies? I'm not like I don't want to. I'm not trying to be accusatory here, but I'm just having an honest conversation here. Like that's the kind of language that bullies use after they get caught, right? Like you misunderstood me. I didn't mean that.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? And the two things that jump out to me, right? I, I'm just gonna watch my language. The first thing, is that he never apologizes for anything during the interview.
Yeah.
Like there's no, it's like, hey, you know what? If she felt like that, I'm terribly sorry. It was not my intention to make her feel like that. But if I did make her feel bad for that, I am sorry. That's what a man should say, right?
Absolutely.
But not going through this hoops. So it's like, oh no, she misunderstood, and it's that number two. When you have to say, I consider myself a nice guy. You're not, bro. Bro, what are you doing? Like nice guys don't have to say that they consider themselves nice guys, right? And I don't know. It was so weird, and the part, like I can see all the Justice League stuff, right, happening, and all the drama, and Ben Affleck wanted to punch him, and all this stuff. I can see all that. The one part in this interview that really stood up to me, and I'm gonna paraphrase it and come up with my own language for it because I don't want to, it's family friendly podcast, but it's like, oh man, and this women that I worked with was so gorgeous that my pants just went and unzipped themselves, and
Yep.
it's like, what the hell, bro?
Yeah.
It was crazy. It's like not apologizing for that either, dude.
He made comments about his own mother that was very scary.
It was weird too.
So I'm just saying it not like again. I started off saying like we can't make this stuff up. You would have to read the interview yourself to understand.
And it's a long interview
because we're not trying to cause defamation. We're just straight up telling you like what we're observing. What's on the interview? Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Like the second thing. So the first thing I said was the Gal Gadot thing, right? That whole thing was like, okay, like this is how a bully would talk. Like, oh, you didn't understand me. I sometimes say crazy things sometimes, and you don't understand.
I'm a wild and crazy guy.
Yeah, I might, I might, every now and then, be intense with people, but it's just who I am. Like it's not okay. Then number two is the Ray Fisher stuff, because his exact thing is saying, well, I just didn't think he was that good of an actor, and I didn't think his part of the story really made that much sense. If you watch the Snyder Cut,
how can you?
It was on the best, if not the best part.
He was the best character in the movie.
It connected everything so beautifully.
He was the soul of the movie, basically.
Oh my gosh, dude!
That's exactly what happened to Justice League. They took its soul and its soul, and they just ripped it out. and that's what he did when he took over the project.
It's like, dude,
It's
there's moments in the
insane, man.
Snyder Cut, dude, that I get like chills, bro. Like, 'cause it's so good,
Yeah,
like in that movie,
yeah.
right? Um, but him saying that, like, I'm like, this is why, like, okay, when I had the opportunity to stand face to face with Ray, and I said to him, like, the movie speaks for itself. Like, even if you do not believe what Ray is saying for whatever reason, and look, I think a lot of us owe Ray and all these people an apology because I was a skeptic. I'm like was very wrong about some of the things that I said. Oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. It's like
Yeah.
like things are coming to light even more clear after this interview, right? But even if you don't believe Ray Fisher, but you hear him saying, "Hey, they cut out my stuff, and there was way more that was going to be in it," and then you finally get to see the cut of what the original plan was.
Hmm.
The movie itself confirms exactly what he's saying because when you watch the movie, like you said, he is the most important character of that movie. He connects the entire story. He's like the Coulson of the movie, right? Like of the
Yeah,
Avengers
yeah. The
movie,
first
right? Like
Avengers. Yeah, yeah.
he's
Basically.
so it's like, how does Joss Whedon go from writing an Avengers movie to all this kind of stuff to then do this? Like, I don't know what's going on with him. I hope he gets the help that he needs. I
He
hope that
doesn't
one day he
sound.
gets it,
Yeah, he
but
doesn't
there's
sound
something
like
very wrong.
there's. Yeah, he doesn't sound
Yeah,
like he's in a good mental state.
no,
It's like it reminds me of someone. I'm not gonna mention. Do you know who it is?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's someone that's very popular
Yes,
amongst the
a
demographic.
name that you probably shouldn't say on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, yeah. It's a it's a dude that's popular with a specific demographic, and it's the same sort of
Yeah, something's wrong.
rhetoric that we hear
Yeah,
from Whedon, where it's like I didn't do nothing wrong, and it was like, why should I apologize? I did nothing wrong, the same
it's
thing.
like the big kid that got found out. You know.
Yeah, so it was just
Yeah.
weird, upsetting. It was just bizarre, and like I don't know if you saw people say out there saying that like now there's rumors that that Kevin Feige actually finished Age of Ultron because he got was let go during the project, and Feige just finished it himself. There's yeah, I believe it,
That
dude.
that movie could have been very different.
I believe it. I believe it because you can tell because of the movie. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can
yeah,
tell
you're right.
it could have been very different because
Yeah,
there's some holes.
yeah. So you can tell that there were some problems like behind the scenes, you know, and the Avengers cast are like top notch NDA keepers. They won't say anything,
No,
and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
so you won't find out. Right? It's one of those things that it could have happened, and we never know. And Kevin Feige himself just finished the movie because they just
like if
didn't want to
anyone
deal
was
with
to
him
say
anymore.
something, I feel like it'd be Scarlett Johansson because she had
Mm.
the strength enough to go ahead and
Oh
sue these
yeah,
people,
yeah,
and get them to apologize for it.
yeah. I
And I don't know if
know.
you heard this open. Now they're doing an Oscar campaign for her to win Best Actress. Disney is submitting like stuff for her.
Yeah,
So not only did she sue these people, but she actually got them to
kind of the good
try and
graces.
like
Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, she's if anyone would say it'd be her, but still, like I think
yeah,
they're so professional and they're so under wraps with what they wouldn't publicly say anything. It would be private.
yeah, yeah. Do you think his career's over?
I think his career is over for blockbusters.
Okay, so he
I
may be
don't
able to
think it.
direct like smaller Netflix type stuff.
Yep, I
Okay,
don't like I don't think this is Brian Singer, if you know what I'm saying.
okay,
Like Brian Singer, you're not going to see him around. He took his money and he left. I think Joss Whedon could still get a project or two in time, but that could change, Obed, because if this interview is already throwing more oil on the fire, all it takes is in my belief, it takes just one more big thing to come out. Like if he was involved in something from the past or something that comes more recent that he does or something. I think it's like three strikes you're out kind of thing. Like I think this that he could have one more thing and that would put him away. Like he'd be done.
Yeah.
But I still think he could do. I just don't think blockbuster films like you won't see, from the director that brought. I don't. You're not gonna get
From the
that.
director of the Avengers.
Yeah,
You
a
got
Todd Phillips film, a Joss Whedon film. You're not gonna get that. They ain't gonna
yeah,
do no Joker.
yeah, 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 man. We'll see. It's all very weird, very disheartening, like for like old school fans. But then you get people like corroborating the stories, and yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it's it's pretty crazy. Speaking of crazy, um, Tuesday morning, out of nowhere, it was announced that Microsoft is acquiring Activision for around $70 billion. I have conflicting feelings about this, and I'll let you know why. I was fine with the Bethesda stuff and everything, right? But I think that Microsoft's behavior, and I'll go over yeah, a few things, and we'll discuss it. I think at this point, Microsoft behavior is disruptive for the industry, and they're clearly trying to buy their way to the top, and that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We never know, right? It's clear that they want to have Game Pass as their thing. I don't I think that it may sound kind of ridiculous, right? But I don't think Xbox as a device is going to be out there much longer, because I think they're going to just stop. They're going to just sell the controllers, and they're going to sell you Game Pass that you can play on your TV and you can play on your iPad. That said, I could care less, because I don't give. I don't care for Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch. No, I don't care. Right? The only thing that got me concerned a little bit was Sekiro, because Sekiro was published by Activision, but they From Software like Tuesday afternoon clarified that it was a publishing deal and they own the IP. So they didn't buy Sekiro. So that was the only one that I was concerned about. Everything else, I don't care. I don't play Call of Duty. I know that a lot of people do, right? Call of Duty is a big deal. It's not what it used to be. Okay, Activision, in my opinion, was a sinking ship for many reasons that we've discussed on the program. And Call of Duty is not the same that it was. Warzone's the only thing that's really making the money when it comes to Call of Duty. The cycles are all out of whack, because it's games take longer to make and more expensive. So the Call of Duty cycles got weird. World of Warcraft has been bleeding users for years now. That the user base is very, very low. So I don't. They're probably still making money out of that, but I don't think it's that crazy amount of money. Diablo is a big seller on PC. It's always been like a PC game, so I really don't care, right? And then Overwatch is another competitive sort of game that's mostly PC based. So I don't care, right? It's like they bought it, good for them. That said, you're going to disrupt the people that enjoy playing your games on other consoles. Update to that, Phil Spencer came out today and said that they've talked to Sony already, and they will honor existing contracts. So, which means that foreseeable future Call of Duty is still going to come out on PlayStation, and more than likely, like Diablo, at least the next one will come out on PlayStation. Overwatch probably not. Whenever that's mess is done. So that's number one, sinking ship because of the IPs just not being what they were before. And then sinking ship because they're inheriting probably the biggest HR nightmare in the world right now. And you know, I think that again, this is allegations. This is my opinion. I'm not saying that this is, what's
Yeah.
going on. But in my opinion, dude, things were so bad at Activision that people were gonna go to jail, and they would just
Oh yeah.
rather just escape and sell the company and just have nothing to do with it and let someone else deal with it. Because Bobby Kotick is making like almost $400 million out of this deal.
Yeah.
You got executives making millions of dollars out of this deal, and then just leaving the mess over with Phil Spencer. Kotick is gonna stay until the transition, until the acquisition goes through, and then I guess he'll retire. But I think that the legal mess they had, was unrecoverable, and they had to just do it. I think that's the number one reason why. On the flip side, whatever Sony's working on that they're gonna talk about soon, that's gonna be a competitor to Game Pass, it's probably really good, and they're just prepping because they're like, yo, this thing's probably really good, and we should get more stuff. That's the flip side of it. There's been rumors for a while now that Sony may buy Square Enix. We talked about it. Maybe that's true because they've asked Square Enix about Final Fantasy games, and they said that there are no plans of putting Final Fantasy on other platforms other than PlayStation and PC. So, like, that's an indicator, right? If I would be Sony right now, and that's just me, I would go for them, Capcom and Sega, and just secure those. Just secure your Japanese crew, and it should be smooth sailing. Dude, I don't care about Call of Duty or any of that. Like if it would have come out that Microsoft bought Capcom and the next Devil May Cry was gonna be an Xbox exclusive, then I would have to go out of my way and get an Xbox Series S. But that's not the case. And I just don't care about this IPs, just as I don't care about the Bethesda id IPs. I just don't care. I know Doom's great, but the new ones. But other than that, I was like, I don't I don't really care. Problem is that you're disrupting game communities that depend on their friends playing Call of Duty on PlayStation, and now what are they gonna do? It's like, oh, they're gonna have to buy the new stuff? Probably not, right? I don't think Call of Duty is not gonna be a platform exclusive ever. I think it's gonna still be multi-platform. That said, dude, they own Crash Bandicoot. What are you gonna do now, Joe?
Yeah, that was the one that hurt. That was the one that hurt. Like out of all the ones on the list, that's the one that I actually care about because he's my favorite. So yeah, I think that's one of the questions people were asking right away. Like you hit it on the nose. You were saying like, okay, what does this mean for me? Like we understand that the gaming business, they're blowing it up. It's from a business standpoint, all this kind of stuff. But as the individual sole gamer, like what does this mean to me? Does this mean if I'm a PS5 guy that now I have to go pick up an Xbox? Like what do I need to do? Do I need to do anything to be prepared? What do they have?
Yep.
Yada yada yada. And for me, I would say you do not yet need to do that, right? Like, if there's a property on that list that they have that you really, 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 really want, I don't think, based on what Phil Spencer said today, like we should not have to worry about anything in the immediate future. If there's the actual, series of franchise that you're into that they acquired today, yesterday, sorry, on Tuesday. So that is the good news, right? Like, do not go out now and have to run and buy an Xbox.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the first thing. If you're a PS5, if you're a PS5 guy, you should be okay, right?
Yep.
The second thing is to your point. Why are they doing this? Like, why was this important for Microsoft to do this? What was the value behind them spending, $70 billion basically on this kind of deal. Well, I mean, obviously, Obed, you and I know Microsoft is insanely rich. They are, they've got cash galore. That to make this kind of purchase,
Yep.
it's not very hard for them, right? We're not talking about the Xbox, saying the Microsoft as a company, right? They're swimming in cash. They're doing just Bill Gates is doing great. So like for Microsoft to do this, there's a couple of things that I thought of right away, and then I started doing a little more research into like what would be their strategy. And I think this is the long game. Like I don't think this is as I mean that's why even you're seeing them talk about like they're not don't be worried about your games today because this they don't spend like nearly 70 billion bucks just because they want to have, Call of Duty as an exclusive. Like that's not why they spent that kind of money, right? Um I
It's Game
believe
Pass.
Exactly. I believe the future of gaming is at stake here. Like this is an arms race to have the most IPs you can have on a part of your brand for where the next generation of gaming is going to be.
Yeah.
You think about right, like what is the big deal with just general streaming services? If you're on Peacock, if you're on Apple TV, if you're on HBO Max, if you're on Hulu, if you're on Disney Plus, whatever, what is it? It's an IP battle, right? Well, oh my gosh, I'm a big fan of The Office. I have to have now Peacock because that's where the show is going to
Yep.
be. Oh, I'm a big fan of the Stranger Things, so I have to have Netflix because that's the only place it is. I can't go buy this off
Yep.
the shelf. They
Gotta get
only have
Star
it on the platform,
Wars. Yeah.
right? You get your Star Wars on Disney Plus. I could care less about Disney Club, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I just want to watch Boba Fett. Like they know what they're doing because it's an arms race IP. The same thing's happening in gaming because it is going to be a streaming IP battle that's coming over.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to go even further, Obed, I don't even think it's just the streaming of like okay we have these titles, but I also think it's what they're looking to develop from an infrastructure standpoint, and that has to do with a conversation that I think a lot of people are the buzzword people are hearing right now and not fully understanding is metaverse. Like that is very, very, very much a huge part of where the world is going. Like Facebook is stupidly rich. Okay, they don't go and change their name to Meta because it just sounds cool. Okay, like that people looked at it in the news like, oh, they did that because Facebook has such a negative connotation around it. Oh, we want to rebrand. That was not the only reason that they went and did that thing. They did that because Zuckerberg 1000% believes and understands the future of where the metaverse is going, right? You talk about Roblox, Minecraft, all these kinds of things, right? These kinds of communities, moving them into a virtual environment. Disney just did a metaverse patent themselves. Okay,
Yeah.
these companies understand that the technology from a gaming
PlayStation
standpoint,
Home. Remember that?
dude,
That was the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was the beginning. I loved PlayStation Home actually. I know
Yeah.
some people hated it. I thought it was cool. I used to
It
just
was
run
it was
around and
cool. Yeah.
I thought it was like because it was ahead of its
You would
time,
watch
right? Like
E3 press conferences there, dude, in the movie theater. You would go in,
exactly.
and I would do. I did
Yep.
it. I did.
I did it too. Yeah,
We
I
would
did it
just
too.
go in and go
We didn't
in.
know each other then, but we were doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, man. I'm
Yeah,
telling
no,
you,
no,
like PlayStation was ahead of the curve when it came to that like metaverse stuff. 'Cause you could still buy like product placement items and all that, furniture
like
and all that stuff that you could do for your apartment. You would go out to the movie theater and watch, trailers or watch the E3 press conference and whatnot. So
yeah,
yeah,
like
man.
literally. I think it was Facebook. I think it was Facebook. Could have been Microsoft. I think it was Facebook. I saw recently, or Meta rather. No, like they literally made a partnership with like a new like blockchain company called Oasis. Like recently, like they're fully going on the Ready Player One thing, dude. Like it is legit the plan because they
Hmm.
know you get people hooked into this stuff. It changes things. People love their Oculuses, whatever, right? I say all that to say, like individual gamer, I don't think you have to worry about anything today. Like to your point, Obed, it was a big. It's a whole lot of nothing, almost like it feels like, because it's big. Like oh my goodness, they own this, but then you keep going about your day. Go pick up your games when they come out on PS5, and you're not going to care the difference. It doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
exactly.
So I think like we could talk about it from a business standpoint, huge. And in fact, because of that, the institutional money started to flow out of Sony and into Microsoft because they understand, hey, this is they moved their chess piece first, right? But I think you made a great point, Obid, when you said like clearly whatever Sony has planned for their Game Pass thing, that's gonna be something to look out for.
Yeah. Like they haven't said anything. No one knows anything. Um, rumors start swirling around again this week about the like the backwards compatibility and whatnot. But whatever they have planned as a competitor, whether it be like PS Plus Plus or PlayStation Plus Premium or whatever they want to call it, if they want to integrate PlayStation Now with PlayStation Plus and make it, a big, package, that, that could work. And that's probably, that could be a reason why they did it. It's like, oh, like this thing that Sony's planning is huge. Especially if Sony has partnerships with, all the Japanese companies, and you can have back catalogs from like, Konami, Capcom, and Sega and Square and all that. I had a thought just now, and it went away. But it's I I'm not concerned about PlayStation, right? The thing is that it's been a long time and they have been no big moves. And that is concerning to some extent. Oh, I remember what it was. So I forgot to mention to you, because we talked about it. I signed up for the Switch online. So I got the Family Pass for that. Not the one that includes the N64 games. I think that's too expensive. But it's just the regular one. It works pretty good with the so my daughter, if she plays something on the Switch that we use on the TVs and she grabs her Switch Lite, the save file just syncs over. It's really good. It's really good.
That's awesome.
Yep. So like we played Mario Kart, and Mario Kart, whatever we unlocked there, which you can see on her Switch Lite.
Wow.
So it works really well. It doesn't. I think I'm not sure how they do it. If they do it immediately after the game shuts down, if they send the file over, because the files are very small. They're like 20 megs. So it's like instantaneous. And that's the good thing about Nintendo.
Brilliant.
They're so practical that it just
Yeah.
works. And that all that, right? Like Game Pass being on Nintendo, that's been a rumor, right? We'll get Game Pass on the Switch on like a cloud version where the X Cloud comes out or whatnot. Basically like and I want to pull up some of the wording. If you want to fill dead air, what I look for the original blog post
Well,
from Microsoft.
yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Yeah, like having that full on ability you just mentioned, like you're using that ability from the Nintendo Online with you and your daughter, where you've got two switches in your home, and seamlessly you just pick up one device, you got all your data there, and then you stop that, and then go to the next device, switch to the next device, and you pick it right on up. Like that's where the streaming stuff's going. Like that's what
Yep.
we're talking about. That simultaneous
Yeah,
connection.
I found it. So the wording that Microsoft has on their release that's on their site is Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard to bring the joy and community of gaming to everyone across every device. Because that's what they
Nintendo's
want.
coming.
They want to be on everything. So that means that maybe the PlayStation Game Pass competitors Game Pass is gonna be on PlayStation. Who knows, bro?
Yeah.
Honestly, who knows?
Who knows,
It,
man?
it's gonna be really interesting. Again, I know that the Blizzard stuff that they own that old Sierra interactive catalog from back in the 80s and 90s, all those FMV games that Sierra did for the PC. So all that, right? And it's crazy to think because it's huge, right? It's a gigantic move. It's definitely a power move. Like we were talking about EA being on the block for them to just buy. I think a couple of years ago we mentioned it, but the reason I think that Activision was probably I think a better deal over, well, not a better deal overall, but probably a better candidate is because of the problems that they've been having, the bad press, and all the negative coverage that they've been getting for the last year. It has really been detrimental. Call of Duty this year, like, it came out and I did not hear anything talk about Call of Duty. Everyone just kept talking about Warzone. Like, no one cares about Call of Duty anymore. They just want to play Warzone. Overwatch is its own thing, again, dwindling player base. Overwatch 2 was canceled because of the whole
Well,
HR stuff. So
did they like block it in China?
Overwatch?
Yeah, was it China? I heard something about this. Can't remember.
I don't remember. It was huge in China.
I'll fact check it.
All right.
Yeah, it was a really weird thing.
Yeah. Yeah, World of Warcraft, like, that's been, dwindling player base. StarCraft is still huge in Korea, but I mean, I don't care about StarCraft. I don't care. So Candy Crush. Do you care about Candy Crush, Joe?
It's my favorite game of all time.
There you go. To be honest with you, man, out of all these properties, Call of Duty is probably the only one that, and it's about Warzone, right? And it's about, I think they saw an opportunity for them to come in and start cleaning up the shop, and give Activision Blizzard employees a chance at a decent, I guess, work environment. And they saw themselves as as this sort of like savior type of entity. Like I said, in my little like gaming bubble, I don't care. In the overall outlook, again, as these communities are on different platforms, that's my concern. My concern is not for me, but for the dudes that play Call of Duty with their friends and family on PlayStation, and now that could be an impossibility. I think that for at least this generation, you guys should be fine. Next gen, we'll see, because it's a possibility that that Game Pass comes out on PlayStation, and then you can play Call of Duty, and that's it, right? That's wild to think, yeah. But I'm a very traditional gamer. I go out and buy my discs, so
I'm with you there.
Every once in a while, if it's a really good sale on PSN, I'll buy it, because I mean sometimes they have some very aggressive sales. You get $3-5 and get some really amazing games. PS Plus for this month was really good. So, yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I don't think that there's gonna be any immediate impact out of this. We'll probably see an impact maybe 2025, maybe in 2 years. We'll probably see where this all leads, but right now, it's gonna be a very interesting next 6 months, I think, Joe.
Yeah,
because I think so. Nintendo's doing their own thing. They're not gonna get bought out. They're an Japanese institution. They're not going anywhere. Like the Japanese government would probably block that sort of sale. Yeah, I mean they probably won't. Like, honestly speaking, that's probably what will happen. Like if there would be an attempt.
Wow.
What could happen, right, is that Sony aggressively goes after, some of the legacy publishers, like, probably not Bandai Namco, because that's another big can of worms that you may or may not want to get into, because it's just not Bandai Namco. You get Bandai, that's the biggest toy maker in Japan. So,
we'll pick up Ubisoft, bro.
No, I don't think they will. I don't think they will. If they
big enough, but
if they pick up Konami with like the same approach, right? Because the same problem that were happening in Konami to some extent are happening at what's happening at Activision. Like we've heard the stories about people not being let go home and
Yeah,
cameras
crazy.
on you, and your email address was just numbers because they didn't want to have emails attached to people, and it was crazy stuff that we heard from Konami. So, maybe Sony will come in and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna buy Konami. We're gonna change or at least the games division of Konami, because Konami can still do their gym bikes and spas or whatever they do in Japan. But at least the games division, I think that would be, if I were Sony, I would have done that already, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know
think
why. I don't
about it,
know
right?
what are they waiting for.
I mean, think about it. Like the whole reason, let's like it. There's bigger. We talk about the bigger implications, the metaverse stuff. We talked about that, but like thinking about one of the biggest proponents that probably made them pull the trigger today on making this deal was just because of the allegations and the unfortunate news that was coming out of what was going on at Activision. Like that
Yeah,
clearly was a huge catalyst for like, okay,
yeah,
there's blood in the waters now. Let the sharks come in now and grab what something they've been eyeing. I'm sure they've been eyeing this deal for a while. So
yeah,
that probably was a huge catalyst. Now think about it, like with PlayStation, if they were to get into something else, like you mentioned, like a Konami, like what a great opportunity as well. Like PR situation. Hey, come in here
yeah,
and try and convince them. Otherwise.
yeah.
Uh, we got a question here in the chat. I think someone said, "Is Joel gonna finally be getting an Xbox?" It's not been ruled out, but I will. But I will not be getting one tomorrow. That's unless you're gonna mail me one. At
We'll
Microsoft,
gladly
I'll
take
take
one.
it. I'll
Yeah,
gladly take one, my friend. I think Xbox they've done really well with these consoles, the
yeah.
Series S
I
and the Series X.
I
But
gotta say,
yeah,
it took um you can really tell how bad the Don Matrick damage was when it took Xbox this long to turn it around. And kudos to Phil Spencer, cause
CEO of Microsoft
cause
Gaming now.
cause
He's been
yeah,
promoted in this.
yep, cause he really really turned it around, man. Like it was bad, dude. Like they were like I thought Xbox was gonna be gone, and I think just putting Phil Spencer there, someone that understand not only gaming but the community, it that was a great move, man. So yeah, I'll say, do you think there's gonna be an executive shakeup at Sony, man? Do you think they're gonna?
I mean, they already kind of did, right? With
Eh, when
Jim
Codera
Ryan.
was there just a little bit, and Jim Ryan, but see, the same thing with Jim Ryan is that he's a PR guy. Like
And that's why I think he's smart for what they did of putting him in that role now. Because
he's a
what do you think he's gonna do?
salesperson.
What do you think he's gonna do when he hears Microsoft went over here and just bought Activision? Think he's gonna let that PR stay on that side? No. This guy, he's bringing out the
He
tanks now
he's been
for for
mm,
war.
yeah. That said,
He
he's
that
been really
PR
good.
guy's not being quiet just for no reason. Like, come on, it's Jim
Yeah,
Ryan we're talking about.
he's been really good at controlling the conversation though. I gotta yeah.
Exactly.
He's been very good as like, oh, Microsoft bought this thing, and then the next day we get a trailer for God of War. So it's like it's
That's what
been
I'm
their game,
saying.
right?
Look
That's
out for what
yeah,
Jim's next move is.
yeah. All right, Jim, I'm waiting. Let's see what's up. Jill, that is what we got. Very interesting stuff. I'm sure that we'll have updates to some of these stories next week. But in the meantime, sir, go ahead and plug us in.
Absolutely. You know what I'm really excited about that came out this week, Obed? Those I know on a positive
Uh,
note. I finally got a release date for Lego Star
oh
Wars.
yeah, so the trailer came out.
Yeah, I was like, let's go.
When is it coming
Yeah.
out?
April 5th, I want to say.
Okay,
Yeah, so
finally,
I'll be
man.
picking that up on Switch, bro.
Yeah,
More Star Wars. Why not?
so it's a while, man. It's been a while, but they got
So
it.
absolutely. Well, that will do it for us, everybody. Make sure you stay subscribed to our podcast. We're podcast platforms. You can find us iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify. Subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really need the support. So please get on our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. Like the videos. drop a comment, and share these episodes with others. We really appreciate that. If you may have also noticed during the beginning of our show, if you're watching the video version, we are also broadcasting to Twitch. And so we invite you to follow us on all of our social media at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then No Load Time altogether on Twitch. We are broadcasting our episodes live there, so make sure you're following us there. And again, share us out there as well. If you have any questions or comments, something you want us to maybe discuss a little more in depth, send an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. Thank you all so much. It's been a great episode. I think we really had a great conversation today, Obed, and I look forward to our next episode.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Stay safe. Be excellent to each other. We'll see you again next time.